Our penultimate race of the day sees Senior Rotax head back out onto the circuit. And your grid for race 3 of their day, their third and final race before the final 2 tomorrow, is as follows. Linus Hensen will start on pole position once again with Luca Thiel in the 399 alongside. Timmy Kametz in the 303 and Lucas Thompson in the 312 complete the top 2 rows. Lucas Hartmann in the 309 and the 316 of Jan Einen round out the top 3 rows. Bennett Arens and Luca Köster complete row number 4 in the 327 and the 366 with Fabian Bock and Lukas Vavagenac completing the top 10. Bastian Balaj, Yannick Herrmann, Lasse Reinhardt and Finn Stiak look to be the last of the 14 of the 16 drivers taking part in this race. Looks like Julia Ponkratz and also Norton Griffith-Falke will not take any participation in this race. Quite fitting that we have 14 minutes on the clock set to count down once the race director gives us the signal to go racing for the penultimate time today here at Wittgenborn. So Hensen looking to go with a bag full of confidence into tomorrow, the final race day of the 2020 Rotax Max Challenge Germany season here at Wittgenborn. They come round the final corner. They start to split and go into the tram lines. Revs rise, they press the accelerators to the floor, and it is lights out. We are off and racing. And there's a bit of a tussle between Timmy Kametz and Luca Thiel, with Thiel coming out on top in second position as they head through turns 1 and 2. Now into the first hairpin here at Wittgenborn. Then into the right-hander before they attempt the chicane. A quick 90 right and then through over the curbs they go. So the drivers making their way through towards the far part of the circuit. Hensen still leads. Timmy Kametz still trying to threaten for second position. And just behind Lucas Thompson in the 312, looking to move up the order and get into the top 3 before the day is done. So Jan Heinen gets past Lucas Hartmann. Bennett Arens gets passed by Luca Köster as they complete lap number 1. And Linus Hensen puts in a 48.116 second lap time on the very first lap, having the clear air in front. So Vavagenac drops all the way down to 14th as Lasse Reinhardt now up into 13th place in the 305. And it looks like Vavagenac not being able to consolidate a potential of another top 10 finish here today. So we come round the final corner to complete lap number 2. Hensen, Thiel, Timmy Kametz, Lucas Thompson, Lucas Hartmann, Bock, Arens, Balaj, Köster and Stiak round out the top 10. And they were covered by 3.133 seconds when they crossed the line. That's how close Senior Rotax competition is. Not just in this particular championship, but in multiple. It is one of the most highly charged, highly anticipated, action-packed classes in the Rotax racing family. And here at Wittgenborn, it is no exception. But the driver that has put in the fastest lap of the race is Lucas Hartmann, a 46.685 from the Kraft Motorsport driver. On the 309 is trying to chase down Lucas Thompson from Karchemi.de, who takes the quickest of glances over the left shoulder, coming through the turn 3 hairpin. Through into the chicane once again. Luca Thiel not allowing Linus Hensen to scarper away into the distance. And we have seen it between these two. They have a lot of respect on the track in terms of giving racing room, and when it's there's an opportunity to get through a gap, you will normally go for it, as long as it doesn't close on you in a matter of milliseconds. So 10 minutes and 50 seconds, plus an additional lap still to go. All 14 drivers still circulating. No positional changes at the minute. Still very much where it was a lap ago. But Linus Hansen puts in another fastest lap of the race. A 46.348 second lap time, which was 80 thousandths quicker than the driver in second. Look at Thiel. Tim Mikametz in third. Thompson and Hartmann still complete the top 5 at the minute. Fabian Bock still in 6th. Ahead of Bennett Arends in the 3:27 from RS competition. And the gap now between Luca Thiel and Tim Mikametz is just over 3/4 of a second after 5 laps completed. And it is getting closer between some of the other competitors. 2/10 separate Luca Costa in 8th and Barlage in Luca Costa in 9th, Barlage in 8th. Arends a further 6/10 up the road. But it looks to be closing, and Barlage was getting closer to the back bumper of Arends that particular time, as they were just over 3/10 of a second adrift. Gap between the leaders now extends to just over 4/10. Henson puts in another fastest lap of the race on lap number 6, so 46.255. And from front to rear bumper, as now Lukas Vervagenac has closed up. I think that is on Lasse Reinhardt in the 305 from Kart Performance Racing. And that is for 13th position. The battle's up and down the order as always in senior road tax. As Jan Heinen is getting pressurised by Yannick Herrmann for what is 11th position, so it's 3G Racing versus Kraft Motorsport. Just under 8.5 minutes still to go. And now Henson looks to have extended that gap. I'm wondering whether Luca Thiel has had a bit of a moment, but just keep your eyes on the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th between Tim Mikametz, Lukas Thompson and Lukas Hartmann. They are battling away, and Luca Thiel has dropped off considerably. Now I'm wondering, has Luca Thiel got an issue? Because that is a considerable drop behind Linus Henson. And yes, it seems that is the case. Luca Thiel just lifted the air flap on the top of the radiator on the right-hand side of the 399 just to make sure, as now that is going to really change things. Luca Thiel just going to drop down the order. Has a little bit of a clash there with Lukas Thompson, as up the inside also goes Lukas Hartmann. So Luca Thiel is like a wounded animal at the moment, having to see what happens. But I don't think Luca Thiel will be out on the circuit for much longer if that problem keeps on continuing to accelerate. And that was in the last few corners of the previous lap, and you can just see the amount of drivers that are now passing Luca Thiel. Luca Thiel is fast approaching the point of whether he's going to have to settle for second best in the title, because Linus Henson has been absolutely on form today, and he knows it. Luca Thiel banging the top of the radiator in absolute frustration. Luca Thiel knows that it is not going to be his day here on the penultimate day of the racing season, and with the advantage that Luca Thiel had, disadvantage that he had on in comparison with where he was in the point standings, in comparison with Linus Henson, that is really showing drama for the 399 from JJ Racing, who was tumbled down the order big time. And that now means that Tim Mikametz inherits second position. Thompson now battling with Lukas Hartmann for what is now going to be 3rd on the road. And I would imagine very shortly, I think Luca Thiel has got to lick his wounds and come back to fight another day. And looks again to the right-hand side. And when you're trying to concentrate on a problem whilst trying to compete, the problem is the thing that overrides the whole situation. And that has spelt curtains in the final race of the day. So Linus Henson now has over a 3.5 second advantage over Tim Mikametz. Lukas Hartmann rounds out the top 3 ahead of Lukas Thompson. Fabian Bock from Wittgenborn completes the top 5 as Thompson nearly has a bit of a moment coming through the right-hander after the hairpin, and it looked like the front axle decided to sort of hit the curb when he turned in, and it bumped the front axle up in the air. And that is it. Luca Thiel out of the car and has just gone in to the pit lane. So that is it, unfortunately, for Luca Thiel for today. Not the way that the 399 from JJ Racing would have wanted to finish the race. However, the scrap for second in the race itself very much on, because Tim Mikametz has been closed in on by Lukas Hartmann, Lukas Thompson and Fabian Bock. Then you look behind, Bastian Barlage leads Luca Köster, Jan Heinen, Finn Stiak. And not too far behind them is Bennett Arends from RS Competition. So the dynamic of the day in senior Rotax has been literally flipped upside down by one moment that literally, I think, has changed everything in terms of the title ramifications. And Linus Henson at the moment is doing exactly what he needs to do. Keep the head down, look forward like a prized racehorse with the blinkers on. Keep just nailing every apex, turn in at the right point, put the brakes on, power out of the corner. As now Lukas Hartmann has got past Tim Mikametz for second. We have just under 4 minutes of this race plus 1 lap still to go as the light begins to fade a little bit here. Sunset is predicted here at just before 6:30 local time. So we still have daylight on the circuit. And now Tim Mikametz has got back into second, and also having got past Lukas Hartmann is now Lukas Thompson from kartschmied.de. So Henson has literally a country mile ahead of the opposition, nearly 5.3 seconds. 3 minutes and 15 still to go on the clock, plus 1 lap. Thompson goes up the inside of Mikametz, and then in goes Hartmann, crashes side pods, and that allows Fabian Bock to have an opportunity, but the 318 from Bike Motorsport unable to capitalise. And with still 3 minutes of this race remaining, what is going to transpire in the battle for second position? Because now that is being led by Lukas Thompson, and at the moment that makes it a kartschmied.de 1-2 at the minute. And whilst those all behind are battling away, Linus Henson is just concentrating on the job at hand. 6.1 seconds was the advantage for the leader. As now it is all elbows out from second backwards down to fifth. And it's nearly 3 abreast coming out of the right-hander. It was nearly 2 by 2 hurrah through that corner. So Bennett Arends has also parked up. So the RS Competition driver in the 327 has also retired. And that was on lap number 12 of the race. Luca Thiel pulled it in the pits after 10 laps while circumnavigating a problem after lap number 6. But Thompson hanging on to second place, trying to keep Hartmann at bay. Hartmann looking at the opportunity to go up the inside through the hairpin and goes through. And the 309 gets past the 312 with consummate ease. But Thompson not giving up without a fight. Through into the next right-hander, then into the penultimate left-hand corner before they power through and carry the momentum through the apex onto the start-finish line. 16 laps completed. Linus Henson has a lead of 7.135 seconds as Thompson trying to force the issue, as is Tim Mikametz. Fabian Bock in the next minute and a quarter, if he can get any closer, will also factor in. So still time remaining on the clock, less than 60 seconds. It's about who wants it the most, who wants second more than anybody else in the moment. That is Lukas Hartmann. But Lukas Thompson has an opportunity, but as long as Tim Mikametz doesn't go for it, and can't go for it through into turn number 1. Fabian Bock now closing. Jan Heinen and Luca Köster not too far adrift. Then you have to factor in Finchdiak and Bastian Barlage. These drivers are absolutely pushing, like their lives depended on it. Thompson takes a look over the shoulder to see where Mikametz is. And the 303 not able to get past. Time fast ticking away. We're about to hit 0 on the clock. Henson crosses the line with 5 seconds still to go. And it looks like there might be a penalty issued very shortly to one of the competitors. I've heard a 3-second penalty. So Henson, after this, will have one more lap to go. And a 5-second penalty. That is for the 316 of Jan Heinen. So Jan Heinen will get a 5-second penalty added post-race. So just a few more corners before just 1,038 meters separate Linus Henson from Kashmi.de from another victory. Goes through the hairpin, off the turns 1 and 2, and that was a 316. Jan Heinen gets a 5-second penalty for unfair driving stroke pushing. So that would drop Jan Heinen possibly out of the top 10, maybe, depending on where Jan Heinen finishes. But Lukas Hartmann has kept everyone else at bay to keep a hold of second position. As now, Linus Henson from Kashmi.de has 2 more corners to negotiate here at Wittgenborn. And the 333 comes out of the final corner, and it's a victory. And he's absolutely jubilant as he crosses the line. Second place this time around will go to Lukas Hartmann. Lucas Thompson takes 3rd place ahead of Tim Mikametz. Fabian Bock rounds out the top 5. Jan Heinen crosses the line on the road in 6th place. But will drop out, I fear, out of the top 9. Well, actually, just having a look, he will drop to 9th position. So Luca Köster takes 6th ahead of Finchdiak. A quick adjustment on the timing. Finchdiak takes 7th ahead of Bastian Barlage. Jan Heinen finishes in 9th ahead of Lukas Verbajanak. Yannick Herrmann, Lasse Reinhardt being the last of the 12 classified finishers, with Bennett Arends finishing on, retiring on lap 12, with Luca Thiel retiring on lap number 10.